On this episode of Replay, we're traveling back to April 27th, 1990 for the release of Final Fantasy III.
Woo! A legendary day.
That's when the development of Final Fantasy 15 actually started as well. That is out this week, so we're celebrating the series. I reviewed the new game, gave it an 8.5. Joe's playing it. He's loving it as well. It's a very good game. Got some problems, but you should all play it because it is very different and one of the coolest games this year in terms of just an experience that it offers. But 3 is regarded as maybe the best in the series by many people. Maybe a couple people here. We'll see. Just an amazing story. Sakaguchi was still working on the series at this time. Mm-hmm. And one of the best examples of a Super Nintendo game, in my opinion, of taking advantage of the technology, offering a great adventure. Link to the Past, I think, is up there as well. Mm-hmm. But Chrono Trigger. But this is one of the elite games from its time and still very good, as you'll see. The writing. We're taking a look at the beginning of the game here. I'm Andrew Reiner. That's Dan Tack.
Hello, hello.
Joe Juba is going to be playing. He's on the D-pad.
That's me.
And then we got Brian Shea here.
Hey, everyone.
We're not going to do voices, right? Or do we want to?
Not for this one.
No,
it's too legendary.
Yeah. So this is Vix and Wedge. This is before they some weird translation or something. I don't know why it's Vix and Wedge and not Biggs and Wedge. But
those who have kept with the series will see these guys. They show up in like every game now. So
yeah.
Well, this is the Vix Vapor Rub guy that's completely different than Biggs. But look at these cool little mech things.
Yeah, this is... so I remember when we did our... I was super happy when we did our 200th issue that we did like the top 200 games of all time. And this one got in as like... We did the top 8 got their own special cover. And this was our number 8 game. And I'm so happy that we have a Game Informer cover with like Final Fantasy 3/6 on the cover.
Look at these legends. Mode 7 effects as their names appear.
Yeah,
some scrolling,
and in general, I think probably one of the most legendary openings to a game ever. And I mean, there's lots of stuff about this beginning that's cool, but I mean, I think this scene right here in particular is one combination of like the music and the technology and all of that, and just the mood that it sets too. I think makes it really, like Reiner said, just one of the great games on Super Nintendo, but this sequence is just very memorable.
Yeah, so Final Fantasy 1 came out on NES. Final Fantasy 2 came out on Super Nintendo. It was a good game. Like, people enjoyed it. It definitely showed an advancement in technology. And then it was a bit of a wait, and then we got 3. But in Japan, Joe, what number is this?
This is 6. So that's... that. Back in these...
And 2 is 4.
And 2 is 4, yep.
Yep. So we're still dealing with some weird, confusing numbering stuff, though, because, like from Final Fantasy VII onward, they're consistent. But they've since released the original Final Fantasy II that came out in Japan and not the US. That's now come here. And Final Fantasy III. So now when you talk about 2 and 3, you have to clarify that you mean like...
Call it the Lost Levels.
Yeah, you have to clarify that you mean 4 and 6 rather than the like NES 2 and 3. Mm. Right. Or actually, not even NES, it'd be Famicom. Didn't come to NES. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this... now, Tack and I have had fights about this before.
We sure have.
Oh boy.
And we will
We're going
again.
into Tack's reality. This gets crazy.
Just in terms of favorite Final Fantasy... for me, not only this is my favorite Final Fantasy, this is just like straight up my favorite game, period.
Of all time.
All time.
Wow.
This is my number 1.
Well, how are you having arguments with Tack on that? That's your personal opinion.
I'm not going to fight about that. I think this is an incredible game. Certainly one of my favorites of all time. Not number 1, but one of the best games of all time.
So what's the fight then?
Tack thinks that the best Final Fantasy is 4.
And I know that's
what the Blue Mage.
This is actually, I say fight, and that's really an exaggeration.
Well, wait.
Because, like...
He's saying the 4 that came after this one, not the original 4.
I'm saying US 4.
Okay.
So
yeah.
2 US.
There was no 4
US.
that came after this one.
Wait,
Right.
you're crazy town. 2 US.
Right. So not Final Fantasy 2 for the NES. Okay.
The one with
The one on Super Nintendo with
Yeah,
that red
that's right.
box.
That's right, yeah.
That's crazy. No one's ever said that. That's crazy.
Other people have said that. I realize.
I thought you liked 6.
I do. I love 6.
And I
think they are both incredible games. I just lean toward 4 being my personal favorite. I can certainly see the argument for this being the better one. Absolutely. This is a sweet game.
This is why this argument between Tack and I is actually pretty impotent, is because we both love both of the games. So it's like, hey, I respect your opinion. I can see why someone would pick that as their favorite.
I have no respect for that opinion.
I think
6 is superior.
4 has a lot of really incredible things in it that I just can't ignore. I like the bosses more. I like the summoner more. The worlds and the mostly the bosses. I think that's the thing that really gets me.
Yeah, who can forget that random final boss, the Hatred Zeromus?
I love that boss fight.
Just appeared out of he's that guy that you've been hating for all of 5 minutes. I think it's really satisfying.
Now that we're on this,
take him down.
I think the moon level where you fight that boss is vastly superior to the final dungeon in this game.
Okay, yeah, but you're talking about like dungeon.
Well, we're talking
versus like the character.
You were just talking about boss, and now you're
bosses are one like
flip flopping all over the place.
The Calculator
changed the narrative.
One of my favorites.
Yeah,
finding
Magic
all those secret summons. Like, there's so much stuff in 4 that I love. Like, so much. Not just the bosses. The characters. Not to say this game doesn't have great characters, because it does. I actually do think the final boss fight in 4 is superior to the final boss fight in this one.
Now, something you're not going to see here.
Hold on. By the final boss fight in this one is like an angel. It's like an angel at the top of a tower with that soundtrack. Whatever.
It's great. It's great. The soundtrack is awesome. The 3 phases is cool. The problem is, by the time you get to him, he's not much. He's kind of a pushover in comparison to Zeromus, who's much harder, like at a difficulty perspective. So he still has that final boss feel. Kefka, by the time you fight him at the end, he's not if you've played the game at all and picked up any kind of equipment, he just crumbles, right?
Sounds like you just over-leveled and are blaming the game.
Yeah.
All right. Again, I don't want to argue this because I think both games are probably in my top 10 games of all time. All right? So, it's apples and oranges.
What's number 1, Tack?
Yeah, what is your number
Link
1?
to the Past.
Hell yeah. I knew that. That's why
you did know that.
Is
That's
that
why
yours?
you asked.
Link to the Past is definitely up there. I'm actually an Ocarina of Time guy.
It's going to be some dumb Sonic thing, isn't it?
Ocarina of Time. I don't think there might be one Sonic game in my top 10.
Oh, gosh.
Ocarina?
Yeah, I like Ocarina.
Ocarina. You don't even know how to pronounce your favorite game.
I've always said Ocarina, and people have corrected me to say Ocarina, so I have tried to correct that in my
It's
head.
not made of wood.
Kind of like GIF and GIF.
Actually, Ocarina is made of wood. Maybe it is Ocarina.
Oh!
What?
Wait, aren't they ceramic?
Oh, there.
It depends on the Ocarina.
Mine's just
Ocarina.
the regular Legend of Zelda, I think.
Really?
Because
That's a
that
good
set
pick.
it all in
That's a
motion.
good
and
Joe,
I was,
what's your favorite
young
Zelda
Reiner then.
game?
Link to the Past.
Okay.
See, Joe's correct.
But I say
Link
this
to the
all the
Past is
time.
up there.
Any Beatles album, I'll flip-flop any day
Yeah.
and be like, yeah, that's the best one. And I'm kind of the same way with Zelda. Like, Skyward Sword, never. But I'll say Twilight Princess has the best dungeons, to kind of have a Dan Tack comment.
I like Wind Waker's dungeons.
I liked Wind Waker's experience overall. I thought that was just remarkable, being out on the high seas, all that stuff. But yeah, so any given day. And then Ocarina, wherever that fits.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Majora's Mask.
See,
super cool.
You gotta compare this fight to the Mist Dragon fight in 4, because these are both sort of the same initial dungeon, walking around, and Cecil and Kain taking on the Mist Dragon is way cooler than this exact parallel of that fight with this stupid snail thing. Like, the Mist Dragon that turns into mist is way cooler than the snail that goes into its shell.
Okay, the snail is actually kind of badass if you take a good look at it.
I realize that. I think they're very comparable early dungeon encounters.
Would you fight that snail in real life?
Well, it depends how big it is.
Well, look at it. And look at the size comparison. It's bigger than their
if
mechs.
it's as big as a Magitech armor, then no.
So yeah, it's pretty badass.
Yeah, I mean, well, and then also it's like, so maybe, I mean, if you're talking about just pure monster design, I mean, I guess the Mist Dragon is cooler than this thing. But
It says Gru.
yeah. But I mean, I think that your point crumbles the further into the game you get, and the further boss comparisons you do.
Oh man, I don't know. I think the
Tack is reeling right now. He's like Donald Trump tweeting right now.
Wow,
Like, he's,
no, that's ridiculous.
He's in crazy town right now. We're all like, what's
I'm
happening?
really not.
No, that's all right. I mean, you stand by it, Dan.
Yeah,
I do.
You write your editorial about the snail dragon comparison.
That's just one. That's just one little point that I found I could make because we're here and we're at the scene.
I'd actually read that, by the way.
They're both very initial game encounters that are presented to you in the same fashion, more or less.
So I have played so much of this game. It's been a good long time since I've replayed it, but man, I think I definitely had a save file that was maxed out at 99.59 on this one.
Yeah, I think you were telling me about that.
For sure.
I also have played through just to like give characters funny names. Like, I wonder what it would be like to do a playthrough of Final Fantasy VI with everybody named after food. This is when I was younger. So it's like, okay,
How much younger?
I'm going to name Celeste Tomato. And then there's some line where an Imperial soldier says like, oh, the mighty Celeste has fallen. But when he says the mighty Tomato has fallen, let me tell you.
Laugh riot.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Starting to see where some of that poetry comes from.
So, yeah, I mean, this is one of those I've played through this game probably at least 10 times.
And we're not just going to show you the beginning of the game. We actually have one of the most iconic moments of the game, something that made people tear up. We're going to queue up. And we're also going to explore the overworld and stuff like that a little bit to try to give you a fairly complete picture. We're not going to show off some of the really dynamic storytelling, like the flashbacks and all that stuff that they did, which was very cool, where you really got to know the characters. Mm-hmm. I think that's something that, Tack, that this game did a lot better than 4, is really give the characters personality.
This game did a lot of things better than 4 because it had that opportunity to be next. Like, I think they did some incredibly creative and cool stuff with character abilities in this game as well. Like, you've got like Sabin, who's basically like you do Street Fighter commands to do his moves. You've got Realm, who does like painting and stuff. It's like there's all kinds of cool, awesome things that the characters can do in this game. But for my part, I appreciate the sort of like static character roster of 4 in some ways, other than the rotating roster of this game as well. Although I appreciate both.
One thing that I love about this game, just in terms, I mean, you talk about the roster, is that like, so in 4, you definitely have a ton of different party members sort of like coming in and out. And you have that same sort of thing for the first part of the game in 6 here, except like eventually you basically just get to build your own party all the time, however you want to. So like your final boss party in FF4 is set. You know, like you can't do anything about it. It's determined. But in this one, like in the second half of the game, and sometimes before then, where you just get to go around and like find your party members and build a party of whoever you want. And that kind of freedom, when you're dealing with a roster of like, I want to say it's 14. It's either 14 or 16 playable characters in this.
And there's some hidden ones, right? Like
Gogo and Yumaro.
Yeah. Are just like, it's just crazy to have that kind of like you imagine in an RPG today. I feel like, if you think back to Final Fantasy VII and you have that feeling of like that small, it's still a lot of party members, but it feels like, okay, we've got a big group here. But it's just, you walk around the airship late game here, and there are just people hiding in the engine room and like just in all corners of the ship because there are so many of them.
How many do you get to in this?
I mean, we just talked about that.
Yeah, 14 or 16. I don't remember which.
Yeah, it's not like Suikoden where you have 108.
No, that's just a ridiculous amount of.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I just played through 15, and a point I made in my review is that's my favorite party. Those 4 guys. Mm-hmm. I won't go into Lady Luna, who she is or what role she ends up playing, but she's a very cool character in her own right, but she isn't a part of your party, right? Mm-hmm. It's just those 4 guys, and man, they did such a good job of honing in on their personalities and just making them unique and special in kind of that Final Fantasy way.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, this game has cool stuff that was being experimented with at the time, like you can save certain characters so they're available later, like Shadow, I believe you can do that with.
Mm-hmm.
And in the final conflict on this, didn't they have it where you split up your party?
Yes, you have to
multiple parties.
Yes.
Yeah. There are a few points in the game where you need to split up into a few parties, but it's the final dungeon you split up into 3, which means that so it must be 14. It must be 14 total because I know that you have if you have 3 groups of 4 for that final dungeon, I know that you always have 2 left over. So,
And let's just give a real quick recap on what we just did here, Joe.
okay, yeah, sorry. So we are controlling Tara. I think she's called Tina in the Japanese version. And
Or mashed potatoes.
she just stormed. I don't remember what I named her. I remember I named Setzer Oat. So she just stormed the town of Narsh with some Imperial troops in Magitech armor. But, as that guy just explained, she was wearing a slave crown, which meant that she really wasn't in control. She's basically being used as a weapon by this evil empire because she has magic abilities.
So cool.
This is exactly the parallel of the setup for Final Fantasy IV. For those who don't know as well, I mean, you're a Dark Knight. You're basically also being used by the evil empire at the beginning, and you turn good. So
Yeah, in that case though, the difference is that Cecil is able to do it, is doing all that by choice, right? He's not being magically controlled or any sort of device.
correct. He has free
choosing
will,
that.
yes, but he's also misled about,
I mean, they were deceived.
Yeah, he doesn't understand how the empire is actually evil.
So he's a dummy.
He's not a dummy, and
Yeah.
God,
So your hero's
you
just
guys
a
are
moron.
ridiculous.
He's too dim to figure it out.
Yeah.
So you don't need mind control when you can just tell an idiot what to do and he does it. Okay.
Tack's over there magic carping.
Yeah, I guess so. Yep.
Somebody please make a GIF of Magikarp flopping with Tack's head superimposed.
Oh my god.
No, I stand by my choice. But again, hey, this game is amazing. I'm gonna go replay through it.
Yeah, this has actually been one of those that I've always wished we could do a super replay on. I know that we say every game we do in replay is we want a super replay, but this is one that's just I would love to play through this, but it's
a long game.
It's pretty long.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? We focus so much on this show on bad stuff that when I look in the vault and it's what Final Fantasies have we done? And it's we've barely even touched this series on replay. And it's tough because RPGs are a little harder to show, right? Than action games. But this game gets off to such a roaring start, with just the big setup at the beginning, the credits, all that. And thankfully we had saves on this cartridge.
Yeah, we should. You want to load one of those up here?
We'll give it maybe another 15 minutes, just to kind of show off this beginning.
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh.
We should be getting to the Moogles then.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah.
Classics.
I think this was the game that introduced Moogles. I guess I don't know. I don't remember if they were in.
And I know we
Are they
have
in 5. No, they're not.
No. This.
So
I don't remember.
So yeah,
if
this
they
was
were
it
in
then.
5 or not.
Yeah, this is where they dance and stuff.
All right.
Oh, we are getting some of this. Kefka.
This is our first look at Kefka. Who
Talk about villain making. Oh,
Certainly.
man.
Yeah.
That is
He's one of the
atmospheric.
best in the series.
Yeah.
He is one of the best. Yes.
Oh yeah. Listen, I don't want to talk about.
He's not as good as the final boss. in 4.
He's superior as a villain to the final boss in 4 because, as Joe said, the final boss in 4 just kind of shows up. He plays second seat to the Darth Vader, Golbez, who is amazingly cool.
But so one of the things that's so awesome about Kefka is that he's just he is straight up madman.
Yeah.
Within the fiction of the game, he's sort of he has all these magical powers also, but he sort of got them at the he's an early experimental case, I think, and he sort of won his power by it cost him his mind basically.
And your TV is not messed up, or your computer. This is a flashback.
Yeah. So
as I talked about. So they do these sequences, which is awesome.
Emperor
Watching
Gestahl.
Kefka get progressively more crazy and on his his mission to become God is a powerful storyline.
So Gestal's actually the Emperor. He's the one in charge. And then that's Kefka, Leo, and Celeste behind him. And then Terra way back by her Magitech suit.
And I spent a long time trying to revive General Leo.
Oh, man.
that was before we had internet as we do today.
Yeah, that is one of the most persistent. Before all of the rumors of you can resurrect Eris in Final Fantasy VII. Mm-hmm. Before all those, there was you can bring General Leo back in FF6.
I spent a long time trying to do that. There were so many rumors, and they were mostly word of mouth. You had message boards, but not like the internet today, where you can just be like, you know what, you can't do this.
Or that friend that you knew in school that swears up and down that he did it.
The kid on the school bus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had one of those.
Yeah. So I mean I admit I fell for that also. The one that I fell for involved doing a lot of like fighting a lot of those brachiosaurs. That if you fought like a certain number of them, then you could go back and anyway. It didn't work. Spoiler alert.
Nice use of Brachiosaurus.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of dinosaur murdering.
I want to make sure that's the one with the hole on its head, right? Like the little hole up on top of its noggin.
Not in this game.
That's not a Brachiosaurus.
Well, it's not Brachiosaurus. It's Brachiosaur.
Come on, Reiner.
This game features the T-Rex forest, man.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate leveling zone.
It really is. So
That's where one of the characters is, right? The hidden ones.
No.
Where is it, like a whale that you fall in? I can't remember.
You're thinking of Final Fantasy X now.
Maybe I'm thinking of the Bible.
There's a lot of hidden characters in that one.
And the T-Rex forest in that.
Yeah.
No, the T-Rex forest in this one. So in one of my ridiculous playthroughs of this game, when I get to basically in the second half of the game, you have to go around and like find all of your party members again.
Yep.
So when you do that, when you get them back in your party, their level averages out, right? So if you have level 60 characters, then when you regain someone in your party, then they're level 60. Point being, I played the second half of the game until I only had 4 characters. Then I went to the T-Rex forest and leveled everyone up to level 99. Like, probably spent just 20 straight hours of just like grinding in this dumb forest.
That was like a weekend of your life.
Yeah, basically. And then I went and got all my other characters. But the point being is that like at that point, every character you recollect is going to be level 99.
Here's the Moogles.
Yeah, I don't think they get to do their dance-off kind of stuff yet. But,
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
I thought Mog could.
Only when you get them later, I think. I'm not sure.
I swear one of these guys had a dance command. Weird.
I mean, Mog definitely does later. That's sort of his whole kit.
Oh, no, here. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Mog can do it. Mog needed to learn the dance. So Mog knows dancing, but none of the other ones do.
Yeah.
Here we go. See?
Let's see. Yeah.
Dance.
And you have to like go around the world and fight in different environments in order to acquire his dances. Again, there was so much really cool stuff about this game.
Yeah. And if you miss the water one in the first half of the game, it's a real pain. I don't think you can even get it if you wait until the second half.
And Joe, can people play this today?
You know, I wish I could answer that objectively for you. But like
It's a very good answer.
In my mind, I mean, the answer is yes. And people should play it because this is one of the best games ever made. And I think that there's so graphical things aside, I feel like there's so much about this game that just like exemplifies what makes turn-based RPGs fun and good. Like every character basically has their own unique commands. Like Locke can steal, Terra can use, she can transform later, Celeste has runic, like in addition to just normal spells and attacks, every character can do something cool.
Okay, you're confused. You jumped the gun on my second question, but you went with should they? I asked, can they? Is there? Obviously, it's on mobile.
Oh,
I would
I see.
not go that way, but you could probably get it on PlayStation Network, stuff like that, right?
Yeah. So I think one way that I know it's available is that like you can. I forget the name of it. There's a PS1 collection of the game that includes
Legends. I think.
Yeah, it's like Legends, Origins. I don't remember. Anthology. There are these PS1 like collections of Final
Something
Fantasy
like that. Yeah.
that I'm pretty sure you can download. I don't know if it works on PS4 though. I think they're only on PS3. You can also, you can play it on iPad. There is a mobile version of it.
Tack's making a face like
I'm not
he
the only
squirmed
one.
a little bit.
I'm not the only one, man.
I personally would steer you away from that one just because like part of what makes this game so cool and charming is this like art style. And I really don't like what they did to the art style in the iPad version. Some people that doesn't bug them. And maybe if you don't have the attachment to this game that I do, like from playing it originally, maybe it wouldn't bug you. But I'd say check out some screenshots first before you go through, make that investment.
And some of the young whippersnappers out there have been tweeting to me, writing me on Facebook, emails, asking, being intimidated by the series with the big number 15 there.
Oh,
wondering
okay.
where they need to start if they're interested in what they've seen of 15. I think you could just jump into that game on day one, not even touch any other Final Fantasy. As the name implies, each Final Fantasy is kind of distinct. It's its own thing. Yes, there's, Tack and Joe are going into the nitty-gritty little details of how they kind of stack up in terms of combat and classes and all that kind of stuff. There is a lot of crossover there. The Moogles, Chocobos, stuff carry over, but a lot of that is just nostalgia. 15 is such a different beast that I think you can have no knowledge of the series, do no research whatsoever, just jump into the game and enjoy it.
And if you're looking for a turn-based one, I'm personally a huge fan of Final Fantasy X, and I think that's a really accessible one.
Yeah, that's out on... That was re-released last?
Yeah, it's remastered on PS4.
Yeah, there's a PS4 remaster of 10 is also just excellent. I really like that one,
and
too.
If
Tack
you want to see
scoffed
some
when
of
I
that...
said
I think 10 is my favorite of the modern Final Fantasies.
Yeah.
But if you want to see a replay of that, we did that a few years ago, so just do a search for that on YouTube or Game Informer.
Don't watch the 10-2 replay.
No. We did a silent look at... We didn't talk. We just emoted with our faces.
Yeah.
As we watched that as an April Fool's joke.
But
which wasn't that funny.
I think that if you
got uncomfortable after a couple of minutes.
Yeah, it did.
Which made it better.
If you want to get into Final Fantasy and you want to know if you want to see the genre of the series at its best for this era, I don't think you can go wrong with this game. But I mean, I would actually second what Reiner's saying, just from what I've seen of, I don't know, I'm a chunk into FF15, and part of what makes it interesting and fun is that it isn't everything you expect out of a Final Fantasy game. It really isn't bound by the series or the genre's conventions, and because of that, it does a lot of, there are some missteps along the way, but in general, it ends up being really clever in a lot of ways too, I think. So I would not be intimidated by FF15 if you don't understand the sort of train spotting garbage that Tack and I are going into about Super Nintendo RPGs.
And things you're going to miss, like the connection with the Crystal, the Chocobos, the Moogles, locations that they bring up sometimes, little things, magic names, all that stuff. That's all you're really missing if you haven't played the games before. Like I said, it's a very distinct new take on their story, all that stuff. They really make each one, its own thing.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think that's a pretty good look at the beginning of the game. We're now into the open world, but we'll save that for... Let's go to the Opera House.
All right.
Let's show that off.
Let's do it.
Okay, disclaimer here first. This is not my save file with Yubnub, Ben, Han. This is not my game.
Yeah.
I don't know who Moffat is.
Yeah, so these are all Star Wars names, except I don't know who Moffat is supposed to be, unless they thought it was Grand Moffat Tarkin or something.
It's a stretch.
This seems like something Andy McNamara would have done.
Yeah,
I'm not joking around.
Get him down here.
No relics. What is wrong with you?
This is an Andy McNamara.
Yeah, didn't even bother to equip them. Just I don't need that extra stuff.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is actually one of the things about this game that's fun to talk about too, and is the whole relic system gives you they're more than just accessories that it's boost hit points or whatever. Sometimes they give you some really cool abilities.
Yeah.
Extremely powerful ones as well later on in the game.
God, this game was so good.
I didn't want sprint shoes. There were some other shoes. Running shoes. That's what I want. Those are the haste ones.
Dragoon boots.
No, those are actually kind of garbage.
Oh, okay.
Well, they're not. Well, okay, they're not actually garbage. The problem with them is that they take away your normal attack and make you do this like jump thing.
You know, like that Dragoon in Final Fantasy IV. His name was Kane.
Yeah. That's like I was saying, it's a dumb ability. So there we go. So,
all right. So this is a few hours into the game, right?
Boy, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's
too far into it.
I don't have a great sense of it. It's after all the party comes together. I should have looked on our save file for it. I think it's probably in the like 8 or 9 hour range into it, probably.
I'm way
It's
out.
before Dark World, so it's in the first half somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh man,
And-
he's just distraught.
So what everyone's doing in the opera house. First, okay, introduction. The guy in the front is Locke. He's the thief. Then we have Celeste. Then we have Cyan the swordsman. And that guy hiding behind the pillar there is Gao, who is one of the worst party members in Final Fantasy period.
Even if you trick him out, he's still terrible, which is the funny part.
He's the worst. But we're here at this opera house because we're trying to get into an airship that a guy named Setzer has. And the only way we can get into it is by tricking Setzer to come and kidnap Celeste because she looks so much like an opera star that he has a crush on.
Yes. Nothing disturbing about this scenario whatsoever. Nothing.
So we're basically using the General Celeste as bait to catch our airship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Setzer's pretty cool outside of the fact that he wants to kidnap her.
Yeah.
Me? What?
They knew.
Prophecy fulfilled.
Okay, that actually never really registered with me before. Setzer's a super creep.
Yeah. Yeah, he throws money away, like,
Oh, and then there's our
Ultros,
classic
yeah.
Ultros.
Yes.
Also known as a Metroid.
Ultros is pretty, Ultros has appearances. He's become a pretty iconic villain in the series.
He's
also.
in like every game now.
Yeah. He showed up, he was a special boss encounter that you could fight in like a Coliseum in FF13. What, 2? 13-2, I think.
Yeah, I think that.
And he was in World of Final Fantasy also. Like, Ultros is a monster that you can sort of collect and have fight with, which is cool.
Look at this. That's too many people playing.
And I know this doesn't, obviously by modern standards, this isn't that much, but the combination of the visual style here and the music that's going on is just unlike anything that had happened really at that point.
Conductor's panicking.
And we haven't even gotten to the singing. Actual singing.
Yeah, and
Well,
it's something like singing anyway.
No, it's beautiful. You know what's freaking me out, Joe?
what's that?
I just realized, you just mentioned World of Final Fantasy, which has the chibi art style and then the kind of fully modeled, what would you say, normal looking? Semi-normal looking?
Yeah, like a more Kingdom Hearts style then.
But this game has it too, especially in battle. Whenever you see a humanoid guy on the left side, the enemy, they're very different than your little chibi guys.
Yeah. So actually, it's funny you bring that up. As I was playing World of Final Fantasy, I kept thinking about how much I wished that they would remake FF6 using that art style rather than I don't want them to go all hyper realistic like they're doing with
7.
More realistic like they're doing with 7. I'd love to see it recapture that old school style a little more.
Wow,
Chocobos!
Production values in this.
How would you feel if you went to see a play and some giant chickens were there? Oh, here we go.
Tack, can you sing like that?
I don't think so.
Give it a shot.
Come on, Tack.
I'm not trying.
Try it.
No, I'm not. It's not happening.
We'll let you off the hook about in Final Fantasy IV.
I'd rather be on the hook for that. I'm not ashamed of it.
What about you, Shay?
I'm good.
Well, Reiner, that just leaves you.
Or
Wait, we actually have a professional singer, Wade Wojcik.
Oh, don't bring me into this, Reiner.
No, you don't think you can hit those notes?
Wait, what? Oh, that's a really low note. That's not a tough one.
Hold on, we need more music.
weren't they sitting together before?
Yeah, someone farted.
Okay, so Celeste, I think we have to go check in on Celeste.
Yeah, she's up in her room, right?
He's going really fast.
It's because sprint shoes, man.
Yeah, you equip sprint shoes.
Oh,
Whoop. I'm overshooting it. There we go.
Oh,
Oh, he
he embarrassed?
turned
turn
all
it into Red
red.
Hulk.
Ay, ay, ay.
That's a thing.
Oh, so that's cool. So Locke says that, he once abandoned someone when she needed him, and there's, later in the game, there's or maybe it's happened at this point.
I don't know when they show that.
I don't remember it. But anyway, that's something that Reiner was talking about, is that, there's some, flashback sequences with some characters and stuff that really give you a good a better sense of who they are. It's really kind of amazing that with the cast as big as they have, they actually can make some of them feel, distinct.
Oh, here's the iconic moment now.
Oh,
Get
shoot.
your Kleenexes ready.
I forgot to read the script. I don't know if I remember the whole opera.
Wait, you know it?
It gives you prompts so that you need to select
that's
what
right,
line
that's
is
right.
next. Well, I know this one at least.
Like one of my favorite scenes in The Witcher 3.
Oh yeah, the play in Witcher was fun. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so this
Guys, I got bad news. These aren't female notes. That's a dude.
What?
It's definitely the range of like a tenor or bass.
Let me try it.
You're an octave too high.
Now, what about you, Wade? Can you hit that?
Hold on. For eternity.
Yeah, you kind of got to Muppet it.
I think Wade's got it.
I think we need to do Devil Went Down to Georgia instead. Devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a buying because he's right behind. He's willing to make a deal.
Man, Joe Juba really nailed that one.
That's the only song I've ever sung at karaoke. Oh, actually, that's not true anymore. For a long time, that was the only song I had ever
What's the
done
other
at
one?
karaoke. Well, I went to a karaoke bar in Japan last time I was there, so I don't remember all of them anymore. But it used to be I'd only done karaoke
It's
once.
something terrible. He doesn't want to say it.
Yeah.
It's like Ugly Kid Joe or something.
I tried the Neon Genesis Evangelion theme song. That did not go super well.
That would clear out a bar. Follow my lead. Look at this. Something that's very interesting is going into her room, you were controlling a different character, and then they just switch it on you.
Yep.
I want more games to do that, where it's just giving you different controls of points of interest in a story. You don't see that often in games anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. This is the point where she... Yeah, did you hear it?
Oh, whoops. Oh, I screwed something up.
Did you?
Well, it wouldn't be replay if you did it right.
What?
You just start all over?
And then it just
Yeah,
kicks
it's
me
brutal,
out?
man.
Well, don't go in there.
Okay, we're just going to load
Holy
something else.
crap.
I
Yeah.
can't believe I
When games
blew it
were,
at the
when
last
games
second.
were hard.
We're just going to load up a quick save to briefly
Here's
show
the
off.
iconic moment. Joe blows it.
You got a record scratch. I don't think I've ever heard that.
No, I've never messed it up before.
But let's load up a save and show off the open world. All right, now we're just going to briefly show off what the world's all about here. So where are you, Joe?
I am right by the town of Jidor.
See, that guy's so much different.
Whoa.
Okay.
Blitz.
We have Sabin now. He is... Oh, and I blew it.
Talk about what you
There's
had
a
to do
theme
there.
with this replay.
Okay, so we'd mentioned before a little bit. He has these commands that are almost like Street Fighter commands, where you need to do a particular motion. So Aura Bolt is basically a fireball motion, and then you hit the confirm button, and then he does this. But if you do the motion wrong, like I did the first time, then you
get
just
nothing.
doesn't do anything. So sometimes you have three-quarter circle forward or backward, half circle forward, backward. I know one is like a really weird, like mantra is a weird combination of like shoulder buttons and stuff.
Yeah.
So
And there's some more. Of course, you can suplex the train, like everyone likes to talk about when they talk about this game.
Oh yeah, Let's see
Suplexing
if
the ghost train is
boy.
actually pick it up off the tracks and
And suplex it.
I don't think I remembered suplex right. I'll look up suplex and we can try that one in the next fight. So we were talking before about each character sort of having their unique thing, right? So Sabin does blitz. One thing I used to call him Sabine when I was younger too. That took some getting used to. Edgar has these tools which are pretty sweet.
God, man, he was awesome.
Yeah, he was He was good. He just never could hit the big numbers, so I didn't use him a whole lot at the end game. He was really convenient, though. Like, his tools are super easy to use and effective.
Oh, man, I'm blowing it.
You got it. They're just dumb bees or
Dang
wasps, whatever.
Like,
those
later
are.
on, you get to open up more diverse, like, crazy moveset characters. Like, Realm the Painter can, like, do all kinds of weird stuff.
Oh, yeah. If you get an accessory for her, like, when you first get Realm, she could, like, sketches an enemy and then it uses one of its own attacks against itself, basically. And then later, she gets a spell called Control, or an ability where you just, like, control the monster for your turn,
That's pretty cool.
which is pretty sweet.
So we talked earlier about how there's a really awful party member on this game. What was
Yeah.
it, Gao?
Yep.
What do you think is the worst party member in the entire series?
Oh, boy.
In the entire series.
Yeah.
Dude, you're talking, like, 1,000 characters almost.
Let's see. I mean, well, they kind of jump out, right? It's not as egregiously as, like, Caden in Mass Effect or in KOTOR.
In my mind, and this is a knock against Final Fantasy IV,
Yeah.
You gotta go to 4 with this?
do it.
When you have 2? Literally NES 2? Come on.
the Bard Edward in Final Fantasy IV is just trash.
He's meant to be a tragic figure. I mean,
His special ability is hiding from combat.
he's a coward.
Yeah.
Do you understand his story arc? He's actually a coward.
Great story. That's who I want with me in a fight, is the guy who. Oh, and his other special ability is potion, or some sort of healing
can
ability.
sing. He's a bard.
Where he expends one of your potions that you already have in your inventory, but splits it among your, like, 3 party members, so it just does crap healing to everyone.
You realize he's not supposed to be a badass.
I know he's not supposed to be a badass.
Well, neither is Dan, but you'd say Dan is the worst Street Fighter character.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter what he's supposed to be. What matters is he's a big load in your party for a long time.
But that's what he's supposed to be.
Yeah, great.
He's fulfilling his role.
Mission accomplished. They made the worst party member and gave him to you.
And that was the question.
I think it's great that he exists, that they give you a character that's not a complete badass. Like, it's meant to show that he is, like, you know,
He is
a
just
a
blindly
dainty
defending
little
this
prince.
game.
Yeah.
He's not a great character. He's not a badass. He's just some spoiled prince who actually, you know, his story arc resolves in a very negative fashion for him,
Hey.
and it's very touching, I think.
Tack, say something really bad about Final Fantasy IV.
It ends.
This is like that question at the debates where they asked Trump and Hillary to say something nice about the other person, and he can't.
Kate Sith.
Yeah,
He's pretty
terrible.
bad.
I really didn't like Waka in 10.
Oh, I like Waka.
I really
he
don't like
eventually
Waka.
grew on me. I mean, a lot of the characters in 10, like even Tidus originally, I was like, whoa, who is this kid? But by the end of the game, I was just I
Tidus.
love you guys.
Tidus came around on.
I love them all.
I felt like that almost every character in 10 I was sort of lukewarm on at the beginning. Waka, Yuna, and Tidus.
I like Auron.
He was great
Auron's
right out of the
awesome
gate.
all the way through. But boy, I also really didn't like Quina in 9.
Okay.
She's like your blue
The little
mage.
girl?
No, she's your blue mage.
Yeah, 9 has a lot of forgettable
5.
characters.
Did 5 have Bart's?
Yes.
Yep.
He was kind of lame, right?
I mean, the thing about 5 is I actually like 5 a lot. It doesn't have great characters, though. 5 is awesome because it's sort of like the springboard for the whole job system.
yeah, Blue Mage, right?
You can, yeah.
That was where that one
Blue
debuted.
Mages, Rangers, all kinds
Oh,
of classes
man.
they really haven't explored in other games even to this day. Like summoning squirrels and stuff to attack your enemies. Like
Kim would hate
it's
that.
crazy. I really like 5 for like a mechanical game. It's a really good, really great there. The story is complete garbage.
Hey, did we?
But
ever
we
see
would conclude Final Fantasy 3, 6, whatever you want to call it, still awesome. Still
Yeah.
worth playing.
Oh,
if you get a chance to, if you have, how many hours, Joe?
First time through is probably between 30 and 40.
Yeah, if you have 30, 40 hours in front of you, wide open, give it a look.
You can get it on the Vita. That's how I have it.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it actually gets rid of a lot of the load time problems of I think it's the PS1 version.
I would just a quick closing note. If you're interested in this and you would like to play it and you want to try and hunt down the best version of it, I think you're best off with the GBA version. The Game Boy Advance one has like some extra dungeons, monsters, like basically some post game content that that this version doesn't have. So, that's
a
my
deep
2 cents.
cut. There you go. Go find a GBA. Find them brand new at places. No, you can't. But
Or an iPad.
look online. If you want that version, definitely check it out. But you know what? Before we go, we'll take a quick break, and then we're going to take a look at another not well-known Super Nintendo RPG.
In a world beyond dreams lives a heart without hope. The struggle for freedom is a quest for the truth. A journey begins. The fantasy returns. Rated T for Teen. Square Soft.
All right, guys, we're taking a look at a Enix game. Before Square and Enix came together in holy matrimony to create one company.
I know what he's
They
doing.
were separate. We are playing Brainlord, a game where you actually have to do math and all
Math?
sorts of weird stuff. It was a very strange idea. Joe, you not recently, what, a decade ago, reviewed it?
Yeah, I think-
reviewed it for us?
Yeah, when we did classic reviews in the magazine, I remember going back to it, and it's a weird mixture because, like, you call it, like, you'd said it was an RPG, and it technically is, but it's also got like a little bit of a Zelda vibe and a little bit of like a puzzle, like it's got some puzzle game elements to it. So it's just a really clever like combination of just some different elements.
And
Dragon Warrior, I remember that game.
Yeah, after the yeah, that's weird. After the Final Fantasies, like I was eating up everything I could on here. Seventh Saga, Lagoon.
Why aren't we should get Seventh Saga on here. That's what we need to get on
Lufia.
replay.
Do you guys remember Lufia?
Yeah, Lufia was actually good though, which is the difference between that and Seventh Saga.
I would eat up everything. Secret of Mana, all these games. And this one, I played all the way through this one. And I mean, it gets to the point of doing like algebra and stuff like that, where I was just like, this is before the internet too, you know, like.
So you can't just look it up.
No. Well, I guess you
Because
could
strategy
figure it out.
guide.
You could
Calculator
now.
or something.
Calculators didn't exist back then.
Look at this. Reiner?
Ryan?
You're in this game.
Almost.
That's why you like.
And this is beginning of the game. There are dragons in this day and age.
I didn't know that.
What do you think of the soundtrack so far? Pretty
I'm
good.
digging it.
It's like
I'm digging it.
Pokemon,
I'm okay
right?
with this.
Like this is like, what do you call them? The Poke Centers?
Yeah.
The kind of
Pokemon
melody you
centers.
find there? Yeah. Heal them up, put your balls in the machine.
This game, you know, not discussing this game, but I think the SNES was the best system for RPGs. Period.
I would still say, boy, PlayStation
Over PlayStation.
and PlayStation 2 were just huge in terms of big releases, but Super Nintendo for me, man, it was just hitting all the right notes. Super Metroid, Zelda.
Yeah, I feel like it's the old desert island question, right? Is like if you were like stuck on a deserted island and could
Somehow
only
had power.
have one system and its library for the rest of your life or whatever, like what would you pick? And for me, it's like hands down Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I think that'd probably be for me too.
What games would you be most excited to have with you there?
I mean, it'd probably be Link to the Past and Mario World.
Okay, yeah, hard to go wrong with those.
Boy, yeah, that's a tough question. And then you get
goes
those
to
yahoos
Toronto?
to answer it like, oh, I'll take a PC and play EverQuest or
every game
World
ever
of
because
Warcraft,
they'll
and I'll
upload
just
it.
tell someone to come get me.
Download emulators.
I mean, that's a stupid answer. I agree. I mean, that really is
Cop
dumb.
out.
Yeah, that's not the point of the question. What about you, Tack? What's yours?
Have a Retron 5.
See, it's a tough question because, like, I would say Super Nintendo, but I think, oh man, yeah, let's just go with the SNES for sure.
What's the second
What is
place?
the reasoning? You just like,
Got the
whatever.
best. If I'm on a desert island, I mean, I might as well enjoy my RPG time and lots of really long, good games.
Yeah. What would be the first game you play on your deserted island?
Am I alone on the desert island?
Yeah. It's
yeah.
just
No one
it's
would
just
wanna be
you.
there.
It's just you, your Super Nintendo, and a complete library of Super Nintendo
Man,
games.
that's nice. This doesn't sound like a punishment, really.
Yeah, that sounds like a vacation, really.
We'll just start with Final Fantasy IV, right?
Okay.
Since we're talking about it anyway.
You mean 6?
No, I mean 4. And we'd go with Japanese 4 too, since it was a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually true. That's a good thing to bring up too. You know how before I recommended the GBA version of FF6 for people who want to play it. If you want to play FF4, also play the GBA version of that.
Yeah, I think isn't there a DS version?
Yeah,
that comes with a bunch of extra dungeons and.
I did not. Again, I may be more of a purist, or maybe it's just nostalgia hitting me on that front. But like, I don't like the 3D art style as much for the DS version of it. But the GBA version of FF4 restores a bunch of basically puts back content that was taken out for the US release on Super Nintendo. Like different character abilities and stuff like that.
Since we're on the topic, where do I go, Reiner, anyway? How do I get out of here? Nobody's letting me leave the city.
Why are you asking me?
Oh, actually, I take that back. Play FF4, the complete collection, not the GBA version. Because that has those things.
Yeah, the lost levels.
Yeah, that has the sequel, basically.
There's the old guy.
Yeah, on that note, you should definitely check out the remastered Final Fantasy 1. It's really good. Get to pick all your own classes, and
on PS1?
The new versions have lots of added dungeons, and that's a game that doesn't really have a story.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right.
And the extra content's really cool. They added all bosses from games that came out way after 1. And put them in dungeons. It's really good. Okay.
Kill.
Oh, killing some rats. Way to use your brain there, Brain Lord.
So this does not seem like I'm doing algebra.
I'm going to rock the vote on the Desert Island thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to go PS2.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of RPGs there that I haven't finished, that I haven't played all the way through. I'll go through all of it. The Wild Arms is...
Finally get through Xenosaga.
Megami.
Wild Arms is pretty good.
The third Xenosaga I never played.
Yeah.
I played the first 2.
Yeah.
I'll play Suikoden games again.
Yeah.
There's a lot there.
There's
and
a
then
lot of good stuff on PS2.
Once I get through everything, the 1,000 games or whatever on there, even some sports games I could play, and then I'll
NFL 2K5.
swim out into the ocean, cut myself, and become shark food.
The story has a very grim
I'll
ending.
just jump right to the ending here.
That's it. Yeah, so I'll experience new things and then call it a day. Call it a life.
All right, I gotta find Marlon the blacksmith.
Huh.
None of these really
Probably there.
stand
So now,
out as
what we're not seeing in this
gotta be it.
game
this gotta
is
be
the
it.
fact that the later the dungeons that you get into are a lot like Zelda dungeons, where it's
Right.
there are different switches and things that you need to hit in different orders to open.
Then you got to do math.
and isn't there some light platforming stuff too?
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah,
like.
there's a jump button.
They call it Brain Lord.
it's such a great name. Seriously.
But this is how a lot of Super Nintendo games started. In just the village, a lot of confusion. You got to talk to everyone to trigger something to happen.
Yeah.
Not great starters all the time.
Enix also were behind ActRaiser and Illusion of Gaia, two of my other.
All 3 of the games in the Illusion of Gaia series, one of which we played on
There we go.
Super Replay. We did the Soul Blazer,
That's right.
which is in that trilogy.
Here we are, guys.
I didn't know that Illusion of Gaia was a trilogy.
Yeah,
actually.
it's Terra Enigma is the 3rd, and that's probably the best one.
Oh,
And I don't even know that never came to the States, right? Still?
huh.
Listen to
Yeah, I
that
don't think that
person.
ever will.
It was Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, Terra Enigma.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I definitely highly recommend Terra Enigma. It's super, super good, but I don't know how you're going to play it.
How did you play it?
I can't say that on this cast.
Oh, right. Okay.
He modded it.
Gotcha.
He was a dirty heathen when he was young, before he had a beard.
I've always had a
didn't
beard.
have a
Yeah,
beard.
I've always had a beard.
Were you born with a beard?
It's just how it happened. Wow, this is scintillating, amazing combat.
Hey, it's just like Zelda.
This reminds me of a...
Listen.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah, you're
Jumping
right,
up
it is.
mountains.
This reminds me of an NES game that I really liked.
Final Fantasy IV?
Crystallis.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah,
That's a callback.
it is. It really is.
Get up there. Yeah,
I
nice
made it.
move.
Yeah.
The
That's right.
NES was really the console to go to if you top-down swing your sword at monsters games.
You're not wrong.
Deadly Towers.
Oh, I love Deadly Towers.
Are you serious?
I am serious, man.
That is, I think, is objectively one of the worst games ever made.
I think time and place. All right, there weren't a lot of other games of that style then. For me, I think that was one of my first action RPGs. All right if there were like Faxanadu and stuff like that.
I think Tack has just showed us his taste is gross.
Yeah.
Just gross.
Okay.
Gross. Just gross. And that's where we're going to end this replay on the end.
All right.
So that is a brief look at Weapon Lord. You got a little taste
Brain
of
Lord.
Brain Lord.
Weapon Lord.
Weapon Lord.
Oh, that's that fighting game.
Yeah.
Another Super Nintendo game?
Yeah, that's right. You guys can play on your silly island. But thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you in 7 short days with another episode.